And the regular season is in the books, and we have our playoff teams, and we have our cold plunge champion, and we have our top scorer and our bye winner. Um, so let's just get through a week 14 recap. Um, Capone's V card 132, Tasty Boys Club 106, Swamp Dicks 128, Under Big Dog Story 113, The Goblins 124, Elmwood Lawyer 90, Fear the CHOJ 126, Cambodians 135. Tough one for Fear the CHOJ. He misses the news on George Pickens. Not sure if it would have mattered. It would have depended on who he would have started between Hawkinson and Sincere McCormick. If he went McCormick, which it was a toss-up in my opinion, based off of the projections. If he went McCormick, it would have made a difference. If he went Hawkinson, wouldn't have mattered. But Fear the CHOJ, cold plunge into the depths of the cold. Hurley and Chuck Shear 119, Catalina Wine Mixon 100. And our matchup to watch, the win and end matchup, does not disappoint. These teams put up everything that they could. 158 to 146. Big Balls takes this one. Really tough for the dog pound. Loses 5 straight. Kenneth Walker ruled out. Big Balls has Charbonnet, who goes for 36. Josh Allen, fantasy QB, record-setting performance with 53 points wasted. It's Big Balls had a conversation with Hurley and Chuck Shear before this week, and he told Big Balls to leave no doubt, the same way that Hurley and Chuck Shear did last week. Big Balls took that to heart, and the team really bought in, and they left no doubt. King of the week for Big Balls. So let's go over the playoff teams. Congrats to the Cambodians on the bye, and congrats to the Swamp Dicks on their $50 for being the top scorer of the regular season. So we have in the 1 seed the Cambodians, 2 seed Goblins, 3 seed Swamp Dicks, 4 seed Hurley and Chuck Shear, 5th seed Capone's V cards, 6th seed Big Balls, 7th seed Catalina Wine Mixon. So round 1 matchups, the Goblins versus Wine Mixons, the Swamp Dicks versus Big Balls, and Hurley and Chuck Shear versus Capone's V card. It was I don't know how often this happens, but this year it was fair how the playoff teams shook out. There wasn't a team in there that clearly didn't deserve it, where they scored, the 10th points for, and there wasn't a team that had, the highest point, like top 3 points for, who missed out. The team, the lowest scoring team in the playoffs was Big Balls, was 1651. The one team that missed out was Dog Pound, with 1670. So outside of that, the next closest to Big Balls was 100 points. So the Dog Pound outscored Capone's V card by 5 and Big Balls by 19. Not enough of a point differential there over a full season to where it really is a snub or anything like that. One of those teams was going to miss out. There's a clear top 8 this year, and one of those top 8 was going to miss out. Unfortunately for the Dog Pound, it was them. So with our remaining playoff teams, let's rank them. Some interesting things that are going on here with injuries and all that. So I don't know how to really. I'm gonna rank them based off of how I think injuries are gonna go, how things are working. So the 1 seed, I'm gonna give it to the Cambodians. I think that they're the most likely to win, obviously because they have the bye. But on top of that, they have a good team. They waited all year holding on to that number one waiver spot, and they used it on Isaac Guerrero. He sprained his foot, so he's probably going to be out this Thursday. But that's okay for the Cambodians because they don't need him this week. He should probably be back the following week. But they have a good mix of home run hitters and high floor guys, and they don't really have a glaring hole. I mean, their worst player is DeAndre Hopkins. So, and then they also have a little bit of depth in case you know in case there's those injuries. We don't weigh the depth too much in the playoffs. It's not that important because it's only a 3-week thing. But it does something. It does, there's always probably one player that's going to go down in those 3 weeks. So Cambodians probably the 1 seed, 2 seed, 2 seed. This one's tough. I probably going to go with Caponi's V card. They have a solid team. They don't. It's tough because Alvin Kamara. They just lost Derek Carr, who's going to be out. That offense is going to be really bad. His ceiling is going to be limited. His floor will probably increase, but I don't know. His team's good. It's got every single player is solid. A lot of high floor guys, but this team does kind of lack like consistent home run hitters outside of Puka. Puka will put up a big game every couple games, but outside of that, the rest of them are kind of just consistent, like grinded out guys, which is good for the playoffs. But sometimes, if you catch a team who has those guys who are going to put up 30, they can catch you in the wrong week. So, but overall, very solid team. No depth, so they can't really afford an injury. But yeah, we will put Caponi's V card in the 2 seed. 3 through 7 is very tough. So we have Hurley and Chuck's year. They're the deepest team. However, this is fantasy playoffs. This is like the NBA playoffs. Like in the regular season, depth it's gonna make a huge difference. But in the playoffs, it doesn't matter because you can't. It's the team who has the best starters. And Hurley and Chuck's year, their biggest challenge in these playoffs is going to be figuring out who to start each week. Because they have a lot of good startable players, but they're all of them are projected 12 points, 12 and a half points. They don't really have a home run hitter, a consistent home run hitter outside of Jaden Daniels. And they do have a lot of guys who are very volatile where they can go for nothing. They could go for 5, they could go for 20. But it's those type of players are scary in the playoffs. You don't want multiple of them to have that dreadful game where they put up single digit points. So I don't know how to rank Hurley and Chuck's year. I really, it's hard to separate the rest of these teams. We'll just put them 3. The Swamp Thicks are interesting because we talked about their 4 horsemen. Well, they've lost one of them in Breece Hall. He's probably, he might play, but if he does, he's not going to be the same. He's not going to be getting that same workload that he did. They still have Burrow, Barkley, and Saquon, which is big. But then with their receiving core, it's all very just they're kind of like two or three. Two of them will go for like less than. 2 of them will go for single digits, and then one of them will go off, and then the other will be okay. Like so, it's without Brees Hall, it makes their team more vulnerable. Their ceiling is limited. They still have those three guys who can put up 30 any day. And they're going to need, a 30-point. They're going to need a 30-point performance from one of them every single week. It's just a matter. It comes down to their role players if they're gonna win this thing. So we can put. I don't know where to put them. Yeah, I mean at this point it doesn't matter. We'll put them 4. Let's see. Probably Wine Mixon's at 5. Let's look at Wine Mixon's team. So they got some good players. They lack at depth, and they have a little bit of a wide receiver issue with their starting wide receiver. Joe Mixon's a very reliable player, and then outside of that, it's kind of iffy. Brock Bowers, we'll see what he's like with. I don't know if Aiden O'Connell's going to be playing or what. So solid team. All these teams are solid. Big balls. This is interesting for big balls. So they have Zach Charbonnet. There's uncertainty with Kenneth Walker. He's got a calf issue, and they're doing further testing. Was what just was reported yesterday. So if they're doing further testing and it's a calf, those are tricky. I expect him to probably miss this week, but if he's going to miss, if they're going to put him on IR, then Big Ball's team goes to probably, I don't know, the 3 seed. If he's, going to be back next week, then Big Ball's probably 6 or 7 seed. So that leaves us with the Goblins. The Goblins, solid team. Honestly, I feel like every playoffs there's always a team or two that has no chance. I don't think that we have that this year. I think that there's teams that have better chances than the others, but if any team won this year, I wouldn't be overly shocked. So yeah, that's that. It'll be interesting to see how this week plays out. Probably the main thing is going to be big balls versus swamp dicks with first big injury implications. Is Brees Hall going to play, and is Kenneth Walker going to play? If Kenneth Walker is out and Brees Hall is out, probably advantage big balls. If it's the reverse, advantage swamp dicks. Outside of that, every matchup that we have is probably what we're going to get. What you see is what you're going to get, and it'll be interesting. So, with that, it was another great regular season. This will be the last video. We'll be back next year, probably, hopefully. And good luck to everybody in the playoffs. And we can just continue the talking and league in the group chat throughout the playoff season. So good luck to everybody who made the playoffs, and to all the teams who missed the playoffs, better luck next year.